Dear Secretary General, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear journalists, I'm happy to welcome in Kyiv the North Atlantic Council of NATO. Our meeting proves that Ukraine remains an important partner of the alliance and cooperation with NATO is getting stronger. Ukraine actually is based on the southern eastern flank of the alliance and is an integral part of the Euro-Atlantic security area. Ukraine is not only a consumer there, but a multi-year provider of security. I was happy to listen to understand that NATO recognizes the professionalism of the Ukrainian military and appreciate our contribution to our cooperation. Without being a member of NATO, our country is involved into every single mission of the alliance, and the successful missions, operations of the Ukrainian army have been taught for the leading NATO nations. We are thankful to you for the unwavering support to our independence, sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine within its internationally recognized borders, including the Crimean Peninsula. Today we have summed up the results of our cooperation, assessed what we have achieved and shared the information about how to improve our cooperation. This comprehensive assistance package of NATO to Ukraine is a history of success. We improve our interoperability with NATO and enhance our capabilities to protect our own country. Today we have agreed about a renewed consolidated package of projects and practical measures. We discussed the future of our cooperation as part of the expanded opportunities program. And today Ukraine is prepared to go to this brand new level of partnership with the alliance. We also continue to strengthen the security and stability in the Black Sea region. We will enhance our cooperation, information sharing, improve the communication lines and intensify joint exercises. We welcome the support of the NATO and individual members to enhance capabilities of the Navy, in particular for our fleet. This is our priority, and this is a practical contribution to the security of the Black Sea region. Yesterday in Odessa, the delegation of the NATO Council could visit the Odessa Navy Academy and the Institute for Navy. Thank you for the opportunity for internships for cadets at your ships. Thank you very much indeed for that. We believe in further support of Navy of Ukraine on the part of NATO. In the open, frank discussion, we talked about challenging issues, the priorities of my presidential term, priorities of the government. They all include fight of corruption and the development of civil society. As to the national minorities' rights, we said that Ukraine is implementing all the recommendations of the Venice Commission as to the law on education. 6 out of 7 recommendations have been already implemented by the Ukrainian side. Today we are focused on the structural reforms, enhancing democratic institutions and the rule of law, modernizing the security and defense sector. We are thankful to you for the practical support. This is a comprehensive reform of the command and control system, the logistics and standardization system, the medical support for the armed forces of Ukraine. We want to expand the programs for the training of civilian personnel in the defense sector to improve our professional training of our personnel and enhance our capabilities on demining. Our priorities include active cooperation with the alliance as to the resilience of Ukraine to fight hybrid threats and cyber defense. We intensify our work as part of the NATO-Ukraine platform on cyber threats counteraction, and the major measure will be the joint exercises in the Black Sea. Dear friends, we are prepared to cooperate with the alliance closer and to speed up our preparation to NATO membership. We don't rule out the opportunity for Ukraine to join the map, and that's why we are prepared to take our practical work to confirm that Ukraine deserves this kind of format with the alliance. We hope that our progress in implementation of the principles, norms, standards of NATO, as well as this new format of our cooperation with the alliance, will be recognized in the future political decisions of our allies. Thank you. And now let's move to the statement of the Jens Stoltenberg.
Good morning, President Zelenskyy, my friend Volodymyr. It is a really great pleasure to see you again and to be back in Kyiv. And this time I'm joined by the whole North Atlantic Council, representing all the 29 allies in NATO. And I think that is showing the unwavering support of NATO and all NATO allies to Ukraine. We have just finished an excellent meeting of the NATO-Ukraine Commission. Ukraine is among our closest partners, and we appreciate your contributions to Euro-Atlantic security. Your troops serve in Afghanistan and in Kosovo, and you are part of the NATO Response Force. And I also know that you are preparing to contribute to the NATO training mission in Iraq, where we fight international terrorism together. So NATO highly values the partnership with Ukraine. It is important for us to have you as a very close and highly valued partner. Today we discussed the security situation in eastern Ukraine. Allies are encouraged by the progress in Stanitsa Luhanska and other areas where troops are pulling back. But elsewhere, the conflict in Donbas continues to claim lives. And we are concerned by reports of threats and restrictions against OCT monitors. Russia must end its support for the militants in eastern Ukraine and withdraw its forces and equipment from Ukrainian territory. President Zelenskyy, I commend you for your strong commitment to a peaceful resolution of the conflict. Your leadership and dedication is making a real difference. And this was expressed by all NATO allies in our meeting today, the strong recognition of your strong personal leadership. NATO fully supports Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. We will never recognize Russia's illegal annexation of Crimea, and we condemn Russia's aggressive actions in the Black Sea region. Allies call on Russia to return the Ukrainian vessels seized last year, and to ensure free access to Ukrainian ports in the Sea of Azov. NATO continues to provide Ukraine with practical support. Today, we reviewed our comprehensive assistance package for Ukraine. Through 10 trust funds, NATO allies and partners have pledged over 40 million euros to support Ukraine in areas such as command and control, cyber defense, and medical rehabilitation. This is delivering real results. We are helping wounded servicemen and women get the treatment they need. We are strengthening Ukraine's resilience to hybrid threats and cyber attacks. Allies, NATO allies, continue to provide military training to Ukrainian forces. And every day, NATO advisors support Ukraine's security and defense reforms. We are also increasing our support in the Black Sea region with exercises, port visits, and information sharing. And yesterday, the North Atlantic Council, all the 29 allies, visited 4 NATO ships in the port of Odessa, demonstrating the commitment of NATO allies to Ukraine. And we were pleased to meet Ukrainian naval cadets at the Naval Academy in Odessa, who benefit from NATO allied training. These are just a few examples of our cooperation and support. Mr. President, you have a very strong mandate to implement key reforms. As you know, I have repeatedly expressed the importance of minority rights. All allies agree that Ukraine should fully implement the Venice Commission recommendations. I would add that it is for Ukraine to decide and implement. I discussed this today with President Zelenskyy, and I was glad to be informed that 6 out of 7 Venice Commission recommendations are already being implemented. Allies have also welcomed the steps your government has taken to fight corruption, and they reiterated that today. The new parliament has worked at remarkable speed with more than 500 draft laws registered in 1 month. We encourage you to build on this progress. NATO will continue to provide advice and practical support to take forward security and defense reforms in the law on national security, to strengthen the rule of law, to ensure the rights of minorities, to fight corruption, and to make all aspects of public life open and transparent, so that the institutions of Ukraine better can serve the interests of the people of Ukraine. These reforms are essential to ensure security and prosperity for all Ukrainians, and to bring Ukraine closer to NATO. So once again, thank you so much for hosting me and the whole North Atlantic Council in Kyiv today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
В обмежених часових рамках у нас залишається час для питань від 2 медіа, перше українське і міжнародне. So with limited
Well, I have questions.
we have time for
two
questions
questions.
from one Ukrainian media and one foreign media or international. Уніан Віталій Саєнко.
Union, Vitaly Sayenko. Thank you. Mr. President, the first question is for you. Due to the beginning of this deployment, what extent is realistic the holding of the summit of the leaders of the Normandy format? Because yesterday, President Putin said that these talks must be very well prepared, not just empty talks.
Details about new format cooperation. As you know, yesterday that is going to be launched in order to bring all together existing tools and instruments in more coherent way. And therefore, don't you think that Hungary also gonna block this initiative? Whether is there a unity among allies in order to implement this initiative in practice? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. As far as this meeting on the Nomad format is concerned, there were 3 conditionalities. This is the reconfirmation of the Stoltenberg formula, and when we say about this golden, 4 of them are controlled by the Ukrainian authorities. And we, on our part, have begun our disengagement in Katerinovka. And if everything is safe in Petrivsk throughout the week, then on the 4th, I think, of November, we must start the disengagement in Petrivsk. So I don't think that there is any possibility that this meeting should not take place, if all these participants actually agree with that kind of setup.
So all NATO allies strongly support Ukraine, and we provide political support and practical support. We support Ukraine's territorial integrity. We condemn Russia's illegal annexation of Crimea, and we call on Russia to withdraw all its forces, all equipment from Ukrainian territory, and stop destabilizing eastern Ukraine. We also provide a lot of practical support. NATO allies provide training of Ukrainian forces. We have different NATO trust funds financing different activities, cyber command and control. And yesterday we visited the Naval Academy in Odessa, and there I actually saw some of the activities, new equipment, new language courses, and also the fact that now Ukrainian cadets can actually receive training on board NATO ships, showing that we are working together on many different levels, addressing many different challenges, practical cooperation, and practical support for Ukraine. What we have agreed on in NATO is to bring this together in a more coordinated way, so we can provide our support in an even more coherent and coordinated way. And we also agreed this spring at the foreign ministerial meeting of NATO in April in Washington that we were going to step up our efforts, especially when it comes to the Black Sea region, with more presence and more training, more exercises, more changing of information. So we will continue, and we are actually stepping up our political support and our practical support. And we commend the leadership of President Zelenskyy, showing courage and leadership in trying to find a peaceful, negotiated solution to the conflict in eastern Ukraine. And of course, we also support a full implementation of the Minsk agreement. So for me, it has been a great honor to be here today, to meet with the President once again. I think this is our third meeting, and it's always encouraging to listen to his very clear message about the way forward for this country and how we can strengthen further the cooperation and partnership between Ukraine and NATO.
І друге питання, Павло Поліцюк, Reuters.
Дякую. Якщо можна
The second question, that is Reuters.
якщо можна питання до українського лідера.
This is the question to the Ukrainian leader. Well, there was this North 2, Nord Stream 2, Nord Stream 2. Thank you for this question. Well, this is not just the question of Nord Stream 2, but this is the question of energy security. This is a geopolitical issue. So my point of view, and it's not all ours, we understand that it could happen, it might happen, and if it depended exclusively on me, then that wouldn't be confirmed. But I personally and our government, we were prepared for that kind of decision. We are prepared for that. Thank you. The press conference is over.